Okay. We are live.
Hi.
So.
Get ready.
Yeah,
Ready to call the meeting to order. So it is Monday, January 8th, Larkspur Library Directors Meeting. We'll call it to order. Everybody present, please state your name. I am your Bell.
Ahmed Futterman.
Jonathan Shambroom.
I'm Amir Mavafagi. Jeff Gunderson.
Okay, we have full quorum and everybody in attendance. All right, so roll call done. Approval of consent calendar, item number 2. The minutes have been circulated.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
okay, so approved.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Are there people that would like to make a public comment? Anybody online? I don't know if people raise hands and.
No one can comment online. They have to send it to me in advance. And I had no comments in advance.
Okay, good. So no comments. Item number 4, board member reports and comments. Okay, so I open the floor right now for those of us who have comments. Any?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Reports.
Okay, good. None. None from myself.
Me.
Damon, item number 5, director's oral report. I turn it to you.
Okay, I'll give a kind of a quick oral report here. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that the council on December 17th provided direction to the city manager to move ahead with the contract with Altel and Noel Tam. I think you all know that, but it's going to be slated for the 17th to kind of approve that. And then hopefully we can do some refining designing after that. That's kind of the plan there. We're also kind of just ramping up after being closed, so not too much activities to report. I also wanted to let you know we'll be closed January 15th and 16th for Martin Luther King Day. And then in hiring, we're about ready this week on Wednesday to do our final interviews for circulation supervisor. So we should have a new member on the team here by the end of the month, hopefully, maybe early February, and they'll oversee all the checking out books and all that kind of materials handling. And then we're also after that, we can go ahead probably later in January for a new an additional library position. So once we get these folks hired, we'll be back to kind of our core staffing. We'll be back.
So that's great. Is the additional librarian a hiring process that's underway? Is there a person in queue, or is that going to be the beginning of a hiring process? It'll
be the beginning of a hiring process, and it'll be kind of a pretty wide net process. So we've kind of done our internal paperwork, and then should launch
right
in a week or two. And I think that's all for my own work. Kind of quiet start of the year.
All right. Director's oral report. That was it. So business items, item 6.1, chair and vice chair for 2024. Has this been covered in a previous meeting?
No.
We signed you up again.
It's funny that you say that, because I would like to open the floor for nominations. I'm curious. First, I'll ask, is there anybody that would like to take over as chairman? And Amir, I was going to offer it to you, or offer to nominate you if you're interested.
Thank you. I'd be happy to.
Okay. Fantastic. Well,
excellent. I would second that nomination. There's no more discussion unless somebody else would like to.
I would like to second Amir as chairman.
All right, very good. So nominated, second, moved. Do we need to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the chairmanship. And a vice chair. So who is the current vice chair?
Amir.
Aha, okay, so I'll let you nominate a new vice chair then.
I'm out.
I think I'm due. I've been able. So okay, all right.
I second that.
That's great.
I'll second that. Okay, good. So a formal vote, all those in favor, Armel as vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, fantastic.
Done.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You two.
Exciting year.
Peaceful transfer of power.
Nice.
Uh,
Yes.
It's
Role model.
discussion and on plans for the new library. So we'll open the floor for that. Are there plans? Is there insights to be shared of?
In the last meeting, I think there was an item to have essentially a walkthrough for the board on what the plans are going to be, because there's going to be more detailed coverage in the last council meeting. So this was us getting the deep dive and how that would potentially impact programs and services that we offer.
Fantastic.
And so with the new design, we were primarily there selecting a team. So we've selected Altel and Nolan Tam as the team. And as part of that, they provided a initial kind of diagram for what their vision and library would be for the cost. So it's a design build process. So the cost is very important, obviously. So they've developed a design for $12 million. And it will include a quiet space.
Do you have the plans?
Let's see.
I've waded through that report and printed it out, which I could pass around to people. Now I was intrigued by it. I mean, has this with all the different numbers for the different spaces, including that teen center.
Jeff, was that from the city council?
Well, it was, but it was from this 300-page report. And I think Damon mentioned at our last meeting, it was around page 172 somewhere. And it took a little bit to get into it. Once you see it, and you realize that this group also did the addition to Tiburon. Is that right, Damon?
They were involved in it, but not the primary designers. And I think that's, if you have that kind of talk through, here's kind of the, this was the presentation to council, was basically it. And so there, does this work?
By the way, am I the only, is this helpful for?
Oh, I was trying to find it on the website.
It
Was really excited to go through this.
Yeah, I didn't realize we wanted to go through it in this level of detail either.
Awesome.
I could, maybe if I could, I don't know if it would be helpful, but I could maybe.
I thought there was like a plan that was like the larger plan that we were gonna be able to go through, and we don't have to do it now. We can do it in the next.
That's probably the best plan we have right now.
Okay.
And then again, it's a kind of a rough plan in the sense where they've kind of designed it. We've picked the team, but we'll probably have a few modifications in there. And I could walk you through that plan.
Yeah.
Maybe informally holding it up and maybe
Pointing at.
I mean, I think
pointing
we're all gonna have to get kind of
for the next meeting. I could
get
maybe
close.
Yeah,
This is great.
it's pretty interesting. And it's solid and it seems, forgive me for speaking out of turn maybe, but it does seem really solid and yet flexible to what people might want and how the public might view it and everything else, but looks pretty good to me. So whatever that fed to them, Damon, was work somehow.
Positive sense.
And what's happening here is some of these are add alternates. So they've included some things that would cost some extra money. So that's a little bit being determined. But one of this up here is Doherty Drive.
Okay.
And this is kind of Rose Lane on this side.
Okay, yeah.
And then that's kind of Orchid. So kind of programmatically what they have in here is the colored area is the library space.
Which color?
All the color, all the bright colors.
Okay.
And so over here where it's orange, that's generally the adults area use. And so one of the features they came up with was a quiet room. which is kind of, exciting.
I love that.
So that's where you would read the periodicals. That's where that's what happens in there. They have stacks here, tables, computers, again, kind of more for the adult. Up here are 4 study carrels or study rooms. So they're enclosed and they would have, about 2 to 3 people could probably sit in there comfortably. Probably be reservable on an online system, for 2 hours, people could sit in there, isolated, it'll have its own HVAC in there. So I think this will be very exciting, especially for anyone who wants to study. Over here's kind of more what they would call the marketplace. So the green area has the service desk, some entry-level browsing collections as you enter, and the self-check. This yellow area, which I'm very excited about, is a children's room, which is about 1,000 square feet.
Awesome.
So that'll be pretty exciting. And if you go through that more detail of it, they have some kind of exciting concepts of interactive ways that children can kind of hide in there, play in there. So that's really exciting. The purple area is kind of a teen space. So that's going to be dedicated to teen programming. And then this blue area is going to be like a check-in or processing room. So you probably won't have a book return like we now, but they'll just return it into the room, which will help our efficiencies.
Is the team room kind of like a conference, can't tell that.
Right now, it's kind of more just a space. Their concept of it was to have walls and kind of be isolated. Right? So that's probably like the kind of thing we would talk about. Is it best to have walls, or maybe is it better to have it open? In here, we may have things, well, furniture, we may have things like gaming in there. Because the thing with the teen space is it'll be high use for like 2 hours, but then low use for a lot of the day. So how do you balance those things? They've created these 3 like seats that are more I guess like you'd see in a restaurant, like booths. So adults or teens could use it. We could sit there with their laptop or talk. So kind of this side's gonna this is quieter. It's probably be a little noisier in the children's room. The children's room has a window or in here, so this is a little more enclosed for sure. And then the blue space, these are the dark blues are the staff areas and offices. The light blue areas are meeting rooms. So there's a medium-sized meeting room, kind of the large meeting room, and then a small meeting room, which is probably like this big conference table size. If we do this medium room, which is what they would call ad alternate, so we'd have to pay a little more for it. This door, there would be a wall in here we could open up. And then the children's area could be a little bit bigger. So you could program in here and then kind of spill out.
If you didn't pay the extra and they didn't do that room, what would the space be used for?
We probably need to talk about that a little bit more, but I think what we could do is probably maybe push this big room over and then maybe have that wall there. Or because the movable wall really gives you a lot of flexibility in how you use the space, especially for children's programming. But those are the kind of details they'll kind of discuss in the next phase a little bit, and depending on the budget. And then these here is like an outdoor programming space outside the big room. Outside the quiet room, there's outdoor kind of gathering space. Outside of children's, there's like an outdoor space for gathering.
With doors, with French doors, or with an outdoor access from the room as well, or is it a completely separate building?
There would be that's kind of to be determined a little bit on the budget, because probably the budget just has the wall a little bit in a doorway, but depending on how some of these other things evolve, maybe that might be added.
Maybe a plug later.
Yeah, and we'd have to think about too, if you'd really want to have children running out this way, or if you want to kind of control it through the entrance.
Right.
Where is the primary entrance to the building?
The primary entrance would be right here.
Okay.
So here's Doherty.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on the other side of Doherty. And then I don't know if one of these might show it, but
On the back side of that, I think.
the
it
back
does.
might show it better.
Yeah. Yep.
That shows the children's.
It looks effective in using that kind of indoor-outdoor space.
What is it?
But this is a good view of the outdoor space, right? Here's some, that's and then is there some, is it that?
That's kind of what they want to have, another additional like children's area here.
Okay, got it. And that's the entrance right there.
That's the primary entrance. There was some discussion too, I think, from some of the planning commission members and the commons who wanted an entrance on Doherty, that second entrance. We can keep that. I'm not sure. Sorry about that. I'll bring a more detailed one next time.
I'm happy to hand that off to somebody else too, because I know where I can find it again, and if you want to hang on to it, feel free to, because I can get another copy.
I'm interested in a link of where you found
Yeah,
it.
exactly. If you can
Yeah.
get us where you found
I
it.
think I can remember
If
that.
you
I'll
go
send it
to, oh yeah, if you go to the December 17th council agenda,
Yeah.
click on that item. And then you'll see the proposals in there. If you go to page 172.
I think it's like their presentation, and then it pops up, I think, as a PDF, and it's 303 pages.
And
It lists everybody on in their firm and what their expertise is, and everything else.
And in the library, if you ever are down there, we have hard copy binders of that. So that might be another easier way.
Yes.
To look at it.
I can track it down again.
But it'll evolve a little bit, but I think the programmatic elements in there will stay or start coming to thoughts and
What is your reaction to it? Are there things that you are regretting have not been integrated into it?
I think it's a really good design. I think it's a good firm, especially the different aspects of it in terms of like quiet room, teen room, children's room. I really was happy they were able to expand children's to 1,000, because you know this children's space is currently inadequate, I think. And the library has to be a certain fixed size because of the grant.
Right.
So that was one thing. I think one thing we'll have to work with, and again, they haven't worked to this level of detail. The collection size is about 20,000 items. We currently have about 45 to 50,000. So that's, I know, going to be kind of a larger discussion point, but it's kind of, you know, some of these functional items for the collection. So I don't, that's probably one thing that's like, and then
Because you're saying there's not enough staff.
there will be a reduction, and so we'll have to kind of go through and see what's most useful. Again, that's the kind of thing that could evolve in terms of how much, and then I'm guessing the children's collection has enough space, maybe even room to grow, the teen as well. So it's probably like the adult nonfiction. It's probably, you know, not represented there, because we have a whole floor right now dedicated to nonfiction. So, but again, those are the kind of things we'll work out a little bit later. And that also too, I'll have to figure out, that doesn't really have any storage
Right.
in it. So that's something we'll have to just kind of work through, because we have a few things like our holiday books are in storage, you know, just different seasonal things, furniture, paper, you know, all that. So there are probably a couple things, but they seem also, I think it's a really great design.
Where is the storage currently?
Kind of go through the mystery area.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. And then kind of in the back office there. So I think we can work all through those issues, and those are kind of the things they'll be discussing over the next 4 or 5 months.
And and do you think that these chopped up volumes or areas are going to work well, and they are modular enough that should there be a large teen event, for example, that there would be somewhere to host it? Let's say robotic or you know, some big Lego, or maybe not teen but preteen do you think that there's room to have this? We don't know what's gonna happen, but we know something big's gonna.
I think it would be the main meeting room. It wouldn't be actually be in the teen space, but the meeting room that's when you there, the meeting room, that large meeting room, would probably be, you know, this size or a little bit bigger, probably a little bigger than this. So I'm kind of thinking like our programs generally would be kind of in there for larger scale things. Let's see, like this, you do a story time in the children's area, or maybe if you have a teen event with only 4 or 5 teens that's in there. But I think we'll be using that large room for anything of any kind of large scale of adults, children, teen.
Quick question, what if, say this is 3/4 of the way built and it's just looking as great as it does and all that, and someone says, you know what, like, I want to write a $5 million check.
Yeah,
to the
that's a
library.
good question.
Do you add on to it like on the backside? Like how does that kind of work?
Probably, you know, once it's kind of in process, that'll be what it is. They do have an allocation in the space for a 4,000 square foot structure to be built. At some time in some future way. And if I had a better diagram of where it sits on the site, basically that building, it's pretty close to Doherty Drive. And so all the land that's behind it will be kind of parking and landscaped. So there would be a place you could take a little work on, you know, think about it, but, or you could, I mean, again, this is projecting, probably get with myself, you could maybe go, oh, the meeting room's gonna be for library functions, and then we'll build on that.
Slide off of
Yeah.
that,
Kind of that might be the.
That's kind of what I figured.
That was my
I
question.
mean, that's a
too.
great problem to have, but just, you know, just.
Because needs will change and,
Yeah.
and the populations will change as well. And when I see all this volume and everything is fine, it's good, but on the other hand, it's just how flexible is it for unforeseen uses. Thank you.
Orion, maybe this is
Oh.
the bird's eye.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's, if you wanted to kind of
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, my question was kind of the same thing with that flexibility, and kind of was reassured when I heard that they had done the addition to the Tiburon Library. I thought, oh, they do understand how to
So deal.
add something on.
Yeah, and we kind of probably, you know, I think right here is where the technical 4,000 square feet would be, you know, but then once you're into it, like a little bit more. Because you may want a separate building.
Yeah, but you could have a walkway. Like.
Yeah.
But bottom line is there's flexibility.
Yeah, and the landscape still, I think, has, you know, they have their vision there. I think the landscape's gonna probably evolve
Sure.
quite a bit, and you know, like I think maybe we want a closer drop off space to the library. Right now they have that parking space, so but again, well, those kind of discussions will happen because right now they kind of have a great lawn vision there for programming. So we'll see if that stays or if that kind of changes a little bit. We still want to do outdoor programming, but I think most of it would be off of either the program room, you know, on one side, or off the quiet room on the other, more than that circle in the middle.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll probably, I would envision the parking and landscaping getting reconfigured. And, you know, the Commons is fundraising currently for the landscaping. So, you know, depending on how much they raise, that might impact the kind of landscaping we end up with.
So currently, if you look at everything that's happening at the library currently, you can all say this legal program would happen in this room, this particular program would happen here, and you don't see that already we have overlap or lack of scheduling issues, or because we don't have the right room for it.
I think we can work it all out. We'll have to schedule it. And, you know, a lot of libraries, like Fairfax and I think Tiburon and Mill Valley, like Wednesday afternoons, they dedicate to tweets. And like they have a Lego club, game night, and they're kind of doing that sort of thing. So you kind of know every Wednesday, 3 to 5. You know, it's so then you don't gotta do a team program, and then it might be Tuesdays more the team. And so there probably, we would have to schedule, you know, some of this, you know, you wouldn't have too many, and then we'll have to staff some of it. But I kind of feel the spaces are pretty well organized, especially by having that quiet room. And so people who ever come here, we won't be disturbing them. You know, if you want to read the newspaper, just read. And with those small study rooms, you're going to be able to be isolated and, you know, not be bothered by a noisy life.
And we'll go back to it. And you think that if, for example, one of the rooms is unusable for reason X, Y, or Z, flood, a leak, electrical problem, rat infestation, the other room would be able to, in a pinch, replace it. They would not be so dedicated to, let's say, toddlers that nobody who's not a toddler would be comfortable using it, or so filled with teen stuff that nobody else can use it. No, it's not so specialized that they cannot be in a pinch used for other purposes.
You know, I think it'll be a lot more open and not as crowded as like our current library. So if you're if we had to use an pinch and an adult had to use the kids' room, it might, you know, have the walls and the ambiance might, you know, be a little children, but functionally, and the chairs will probably be smaller, but you know, things like we could move and I think adapt each one of those spaces to what we need.
It was intriguing to go through the thing. Like this is just the portion of it that really does show this schematic look of it all. But even when you look to see what that firm did, like I think they did the Half Moon Bay Library, and they've done a lot of public buildings and other libraries, I think, too, that really do look really good. So they do know what they're doing, and they obviously understand how working with the library staff is going to make for the right space. So, and there were other good firms on there that I recognize. Wow, those are some other good firms too that were not selected. So it looks good to me.
Yeah, that's kind of Nolan Tam's niche, and they're the architect, is libraries.
Yeah.
And Chris Noel lives in San Anselmo. So
Cool.
kind of a little local flavor, you know, not that that's I was selected, but they have a wide ranging library knowledge.
Seems having
and I've worked with Nolan Tam at the county, and so they're pretty knowledgeable in the furniture vendors. They could do shelf calculations pretty easy. They kind of understand, like one of the elements there, I don't know if we'll do it, but like they were going to put a light above the like staff information desk, kind of something, you know, like this. So it kind of gives you a visual cue that's where the desk is. So they kind of have some, you know.
Yeah, they're no stranger to this, right? Like I would imagine perhaps the ceiling, like they're not unfamiliar with, we want to have a themed, you know, like display, you know, that's hanging, you know, I'm sure they've dealt with things like that before. The question I had is, what is the largest capacity configuration? Like what area and like what's the capacity if they wanted to have a really large event?
Probably the large meeting room would be the largest capacity room, and that's going to again probably finalize this to probably put 100 in there comfortably.
And the outside area.
And then the outside area would be kind of, you know, pretty expansive.
Yep.
Mill Valley, on Fridays, they close their library and they use the main room as a program. They get like 200 to 300 people like on the first Friday.
Yep.
So probably is when you talk the actual biggest, and we have all mobile shelves, we could probably use the adult area and move the shelves. It'd be a big undertaking. You want to do it all the time.
Not every Friday.
But that would probably be the biggest, you know, you could probably, Mill Valley gets about a couple hundred people for those events. But the main meeting room is going to be around 100 folks easily. You know, and in here it's 64 technically by the fire marshal, but you know that there's been more than 64 people out there.
But we are on camera. We are abiding by the fire marshals.
But I think outside will be probably a lot of comfortable, especially in the summer. Because you know, a lot of our summer programming for the kids, we either do it right before or Oliver, you know, so that'll be interesting how we start to use those spaces. Because the story time gets about 75 folks, and we might just keep it outside on these nice days.
The one thing I didn't really see is that and it doesn't have anything to do with library functionality, but I don't really see how the view of Manhattan fits with that site. Was that brought up during any of the conversation on that? So that because the entrance is facing south.
Yeah, I think the people who are going to get the views are the folks that, like in the quiet room over here. And those will be the views of Mount Tam and that programming space on that end of the library. So they were very, that was a big reason. There's a lot of reasons, but kind of why they placed things in an angle they did. So there could be a view of Mount Tam, especially for that end area, and especially quiet when you're, you know, reading the newspaper.
Well, that particular location in Larkspur has an unbeatable view of Mount Tam. It would be a shame to just build without keeping it in mind, especially if you want to have events or fundraisers. Here's a theme right there.
Yeah, they were pretty aware of it too. Like they even noticed there's 2 redwood trees near where the Luckies are that would, if they weren't there, enhance the view. So they definitely were, because that is kind of a huge opportunity.
But especially for the outdoor landscaping.
But the outdoor area looks straight out.
Straight out, yeah.
Depending on how it's oriented. So all these meeting rooms and cubby holes would be usable by anybody, or what do you envision with that?
You know, again, kind of have to go through the policy and everything, but I'd probably envision something where anyone could reserve it for an hour or 2. And then we'd have a reservation system of some sort. And, you know, I don't know, people get one hour a day or 2 hours a day, and it's not usually stay there, kind of thing. But I would envision anyone being able to use it, and then probably, you know, certain hours just naturally have certain age groups who use a little bit more. Probably adults and teens will be the primary users, but like in there, you'd be able to take a Zoom call, you know, and be loud and, you know, not bothering.
Well, currently we have tutors who, maybe it was before the pandemic, and I think that the Zoom tutors who would come and tutor the children in the main room or in the landing there. Do they currently have to sign up or register to use it as a tutoring space? No, it's kind of just, I've seen people tutoring there, but then we don't kind of get into that, you know, business, but that's probably a good point. I would guess tutors are there. And I know a few people have talked about if we need a tutoring policy, you know, when the library opens, or, you know, see how it goes, and maybe having a tutoring policy a little bit later, becoming we had one. So that could be something that evolves, but you are probably right. I mean, I would guess a tutor would like that. I'm certain that these cubbies are going to be immediately the chess master is going to want them.
David, I noticed there's a small 80 square foot food prep area. Is that going to be equipped with some kitchen ability?
Yeah, kind of electric. There's going to be in the meeting room, there's a small food prep area. And there's also a staff room, food kind of prep area. And so it'd probably be very modest in terms of what it would be. But if you were to want to have like a, well, you know, an event, some warm things, and it'll probably be all electric, you know, obviously. But over at the police station, that meeting room has a small kitchenette. Probably something similar in size like that. But I would envision this being used as, you know, kind of a reception, and some of those programs being a little nicer when we serve food and not a restaurant.
Love it. What's the next step in the process?
So the council will approve the contract on the 17th, hopefully. And then we would schedule a few. This is where I'm a little, fuzzy, the exact details, but there'll probably be some kind of formal schedule developed. And then probably working with the team, the city will start to kind of refine and kind of go, we like this, we can change that, oh, that'll cost this much. That sort of thing, because it still has to stay at that $12 million level. And then at the spring, it would go to the planning commission for that would be the public comment process. So that would be incorporated in the schedule somehow. And then as we go through, but that'll be the primary design. And then we do also own the two other firms that have applied through this process. We own their design and intellectual property. So there might be some things in there that were liked and that would be incorporated here, kind of a trade-off in that process too.
BN Builders, RNT Architects, and Bogard Construction.
And Jason
Architecture. Yeah.
And Jason Architect used to work for like 10 years for Nolan Pham, just whatever that's worth. It's a small world. And Jason had done quite a few libraries. And so they might have had some small ideas in there that were, maybe incorporate there. So
cool.
That's what a gift.
Real
City. It's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Really exciting.
Yeah.
we're so fortunate to have the donors and the state grant and all the positive energy that came together for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the highest level, in terms of broad strokes for timing, if everything were to proceed as envisioned or planned, when would it be complete?
In their schedule, they have October of 25.
That's the mandate, right? We need to have it.
Completed by December of 25.
Yeah.
To get the state funds. But with their schedule would say it's at October 25. Obviously a lot happened, but
Yeah.
probably would take, I think the theory would be it takes a year to build it. So everything would be, all the permits, design would be occurring in 24.
I mean,
and then
so
in 1
exciting.
year, you're up and going. Hopefully you'll start to see, once we finalize, they'll move ahead on the parking lot and utilities. That $1 million grant has to be used by June 30th of 24.
Yeah.
So you'll probably, I think once you start to see bulldozers and things like that over there, people can get a little more excited.
Yeah. Good.
Great.
That's David, thank you for walking us through.
Sorry,
Thank you for bringing.
Yeah, sorry.
I was thrilled when I tracked it down.
And I'll just probably will be moving fast enough. We could maybe keep this like a standing item. I don't know if you'd want to.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, okay. And then I'll kind of maybe get better drawings and that sort of thing, kind of keep you updated in that way.
I think it's important because remember that we are approached by the public and they're not asking us about it. So the more we know, if we can tell them to go to page 172, that is important information that we can truly do what we're supposed to do, which is just help you and be the link with the community at large. So the more we keep on top of the rest of decisions, the better it will be.
Yeah, anything we can do to be supportive and keep that enthusiasm going through all of the constituencies of the library is going to be beneficial. And it's what stalled the last effort to do it too, is people wanted to pick away and chip away and change things in ways that they just didn't understand. This is going to be an architectural gem in the city, without a doubt.
You can do touch trucks on.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Touch cranes.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think,
Active trucks.
Yeah.
Some scary part of
Oh, yeah.
but right now is also the time to think of what is not included in there that would not be able to be possible to happen. What type of program is that we haven't done yet could arise. And I'm really thinking in terms of all the technology and all the, I mentioned robotic, but is there, we really need to think in terms, do we have the technology and the infrastructure in there to face any new program? And what is it that's lurking on the horizon that we don't really have right now, but in 5 years will be the thing everybody does?
So the item 6.4 is planning for 2024. So I think it'd be good. That'll be the place where we really understand what we want to do. I mean, I know you're thinking beyond 2024.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Bayman knowing what's happening in other libraries and what the needs are for a library, and if there's anything, and for us, that any policies that we need to help you hammer out or revise. It's a little early, but can still start making a list.
Staff writer.
Yeah. And I think we'll learn a little bit more because libraries are kind of ramping back up after the pandemic. So this is kind of the first year. So a lot of libraries are programming, but we'll learn a lot this year, I think, but libraries are
good. How they've been transformed by the pandemic, how their role has changed.
I suggest we move on to item 6.3, which is discuss and approve the mission statement.
So I looked up, the official name of our organization is the City of Larkspur Public Library. So that was the official name. And then I think we landed on a mission statement that the Larkspur Library mission is to create access to literacy, knowledge, and learning.
And community, did we say?
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
And community.
Because remember, we had learning, and then somebody, because you were right next to me, mentioned that.
Oh,
that it was a different sort of word, and that community would be, it was not a noun, it was a verb, and that we would have. I can't read my own handwriting, sorry. But we would have literacy, knowledge, and community. Then we would have 3 nouns.
So can we read that back one more time?
So I kept it as Larkspur Library.
Yeah.
Larkspur Library mission is to create access to literacy, knowledge, and community.
That's right.
That sounds better because I was also true.
Yes, I'm most correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because we were talking about the communities, the gathering
That's
aspect, and we had talked about the designers could be a
I
program.
mean, I missed the last meeting, but I love having.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right, like to me, the library is those 3 things.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that was it was like we had like a longer structure, and basically we just distilled it down to those 3 things, and it's like we're trying to give access to those things, and I think it kind of landed really nicely.
And
I think it's great. I like how short it is.
Big less is more person.
Yeah.
And I like literacy focuses on the books and learning and the kids and that aspect of it, and too.
Yeah, love it.
To formally adopt it, I guess.
Motion to adopt our mission statement
Second.
as create access to literacy, knowledge, and community. All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Love
good.
All
That's
right,
great.
And
Thank
it's
you.
repeatable. It's
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
repeatable.
Yeah, literacy, knowledge, community.
Yeah.
And if you want your
Okay.
3 words, there you go, your
Then when you
tagline.
put those on the tote bags, you can put,
Yeah.
Big Roman letters.
I've been using the tote bag.
Yeah.
I've used it multiple times.
Business cards. I'll put it on the web. I'll get it on the website this week.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, so great work. 6.4, planning for the 2024 year in view of this now adopted mission statement.
Yeah, tall order.
And build a new library.
Yeah, well, I think, what we're doing, I think this will help us in one way because we are just kind of ramping back up, but we're just starting to talk about planning for summer programming, reading. So I think this gives us a nice lens to look and kind of focusing in on literacy, especially when we think about kids.
Yeah.
So I think this is really good, but that's gonna be one area where we're gonna start to probably, plan and program for this. But any other ideas or kind of moving ahead? Also too, the other one's a little stalled, but eventually kind of to promote this, we want to still get the newsletter. We have the kind of proposal to do a new email newsletter. And so the city's paying to help design it. And so that's still in process. And we kind of slowed down in December. So I think we'll have this incorporated in our, this probably need to improve our communications plans. Like one thing I think that could probably be enhanced, let people know we're here, we're about, we're doing, we're back, kind of not everyone knows that. So I think that's another area we'll probably, use this and kind of think about planning. But any other?
What's the timeline for that newsletter?
I wish I could be couple months ago. So I'm going to be following it up a little bit and seeing where we are. It's taking a little longer than I thought it would be.
I love the newsletter idea. I love having a blurb on the mission statement.
Can we add it to the website? That should be pretty easy to do.
Yeah, we can do this. We have access to the website, so we'll the current one's pretty long, so we'll put this on there this week. That'll be just.
And could you do like on like I think they had little cards or flyers for like the summer reading program.
Oh,
they had bookmarks too.
Yeah, you can put it on there.
That was the Library Foundation.
Was that the foundation that did that? Yeah, I love that.
Very nice, so maybe, I know he loves that type. He loves the bookmarks. We're very proud of them. So maybe it'd be.
I like those.
That
was
do more.
I remember seeing that was part of the summer reading thing. Is like nice bookmark.
Yeah.
But you could have something like that on it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No, that's a great idea. The other thing I kind of mentioned, we're gonna do with the recreation department, do a joint kind of this is what's happening this summer kind of brochure. So that when we put the library, this will be another great place to put that statement in that I think we're gonna send it to most of the residents.
The other thing they did, Jonathan, you might remember this, or Amir, at Neil Cummins, was they had a bookmark contest.
Yeah, I was thinking of
where
that.
kids could basically design their own bookmark, and then somehow they picked like one per class, and they recreated them and handed them all out to the school. So it was like really some of the ones that the kids did were really cool. But
it could be a reading program.
Yeah, like a reading program.
It could be an annual program.
You could incorporate the 3 words on there.
Exactly. All 3.
It's just really when you get a bookmark and it's done by a kid.
Yes.
Like some drawing on it's just it makes it like that's a bookmark I want.
And that's community.
That's community. And it's literacy and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marketing.
I mean, I do know that the Library Foundation paid for those bookmarks.
Yeah.
If they could be talked into doing what the good thing they have on one side, they had the 3 different bodies that support the library, which is always a good thing to have because people get very confused about them. But on the other side, they could have the child's drawing with those 3 words. And
I agree. So you're saying on one side you have like what the foundation, the commons, and then on the other side is
because the more we reiterate that those 3 entities may be different, but they have one goal, the more people will understand it. So many
with people, the kids thing on the
and so it's now talking to the foundation.
Yeah, we're meeting the 17th this month. So just out of curiosity, how did they pick a winner in that type of thing with children?
At the school, there was a vote. It was a student vote.
Student vote. Okay, so it wasn't
1 vote per student.
Okay.
Well, I'm also, I think there's a 5th grade leadership. So some of it is like a smaller group of 5th graders that decided that, comments.
But you can do, if you do it here in the reading room, you can even do a random drawing.
Right.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What's on it.
Well, the
You don't want to disappoint it.
Exactly. And you just tell them that we pick one randomly, then nobody starts doing.
Could be a subcommittee, Armel and Andy, our marketing experts.
Yeah.
Board's kids could vote.
But I
Then
yeah.
you've got disappointment and you've got to organize it. Pulling it randomly is so much easier. You don't have any.
I do think these are very exciting. Both like engaged like people in a different way, and I think they're very memorable and lasting.
And you could probably bring that up to the foundation.
Yeah.
You said you're gonna meet.
Yeah. 2 weeks, yeah.
It also is a program that could be repeatable on whether it's annual, but once the community understands like, oh, that bookmark, everybody can, like, all the kids can submit, then there's a selection, and then this is this lasting thing. It's just a little bit of permanence. A little bit of fame
And then,
for,
and then it
for a
becomes
kid.
collection item.
Exactly. The
It-
2025 bookmark looks like
What?
key one, right?
It's nice, Janet, have some kind of online
Exactly.
presence.
You-
Some libraries do like, I mean, we want to start the bookmark, but library card too. You know,
Yeah.
so you have a kid going.
So
Yeah.
for this item, I think, you know, my original thoughts were if we were in this position where we obviously are moving toward this direction, we're gonna have a super exciting library, like taking everybody's energy and kind of like we're all looking to, you know, when this is completed. I guess my thinking was, what are the things that we could light up for this year that would be impactful this year? That we should really focus our energy on. So it's like, in some ways, you know, we've kind of been in this like time froze 2020, and it's been like a you know transition, you know, since. And it's sort of like, how do we really it's like we're open right now and there's a lot of cool stuff right now, and really drive some excitement, enthusiasm, like we want to draw and bring, you know, our community into the library and be able to kind of prioritize what are the goals that we want to really hit this year, you know, and then we can kind of plan, and then what can we do to complement or make those things come true. It could be an eye toward obviously a new facility, an eye toward what kind of programs would be things that we need to do now to be able to kind of light up when this new library is open. But it could be things that are readily will be offered, right, in making 2024 memorable and successful for the library. I think that'll be a really, I think it would be awesome to see the library kind of surge and have a, like, make this year a memorable one. Or every year after too.
No, I think that's good. I mean, I think in just my short time here, what I saw the past week after we opened was kind of a surge and a lot of people coming back. Like all the chairs were full one day.
Nice.
And the kids' room was packed, and we didn't really have any programs, you know, it was just people.
Yeah,
Just
hungry
coming up.
to get back, yeah.
Yeah, so I
And
think.
honestly, so maybe, like, I think of it as like, there's sort of like a steady state numbers that you look at, right, for what is the things that we don't want to regress, you know, like this is the way we want to be able to serve the community in the same way we have for years and just kind of incrementally improve over time. But what's the focus for this year? That's like, what should be the goal and desired outcomes from 2024? Is there any one or two things we can kind of move the needle on that's additive and like a step up from the core set of things that we're doing?
I think for me, the one of the big thing would be our public kind of communication, or you know, like I mentioned, the newsletter, the website, and just kind of explaining what we do, maybe doing like the bookmarks, maybe something a little more professional. You know, I think we just have that. Here's the library, here's our programs, here's our services. So I think for me, like communication is public is a kind of a big thing I want to kind of work on and just make people aware of us in there.
And then, Damon, do you feel the communication is more on making people aware of the programs and services? Is it to engage on like a particular, like, what is the community, like, is the means to, like, what are the things that you're hoping in communication to really drive?
I think one we're here. I mean, that's obviously. I think two would be kind of with our more like our children's and youth programming and just any program in general. that we're doing, certain services.
Right.
I think 3 would be with our collections and what we're offering. Like recently, we gave out 1,000 COVID tests. And we got them free from the state. We just had them out there, but I think like we could have we didn't let anyone really know, but that would be like something we could let people know, or we have like a lot of games and the puzzles. So we have some collections people are interested in. I could see like I brought Dupla online services. I could see our online services, trying to grow those and people who can't get here, making sure they're, they can still use us. I think one thing I'd really like to have this year would be a really engaged summer reading program, for children and teens. And kind of last year we had a pretty good one, all well attended. I think again that focuses on our mission of early literacy, fits the community what they need, and so still kind of figuring out what that looks like. And it was with programming, but we have a huge support with our friends group that's really good with finances. The foundation's really supportive, so I think that's kind of a big thing I'd like to do is just having a really successful summer season.
So I mean, we want, obviously one way is like, social media and getting things out that way. I mean, I'm not a social media user at all, so that's definitely not my expertise, but
Allison is now,
Allison is the Neil Cummins social media director,
Oh.
correct? My wife. But I was thinking more along the summer reading program as like, how do we do more outreach at the schools, right? Whether that's like the kindergartens, the, Neil Cummins Cove, like the schools within our community, just, getting the word out per se. I mean, I think that would be relatively easy to do.
Yeah.
I think the newsletter obviously would be a great way to highlight a bunch of this stuff. I forget the 4th of July parade. Was there a flyer that was?
we had Larky.
I know I was in the Little League parade or the Little League.
Yeah, I drove Larky. Parade.
What was that like? I remember one year we
Yeah, that was
handed
so
out
we
a
walked
flyer.
the year before. We were walking
Yeah.
and out flyers. This time Larky was in the back of a convertible.
Yeah.
And we
A
were
lot
kind
more comfortable for Larky.
I think the school engagement is key, right? That's who the programs are for. Do we have like student ambassadors for the library at different grades or for schools where like the kids could even take on the cause and then be proliferating it within the school? I don't know if we'd have that or we could have that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because I think when like you mentioned the social media, is I think one thing that would help us is if other groups took what we have and then promoted it
On their
what they're doing on theirs. Is some ways that we might be talking to the same people a lot, but how do we kind of get to those?
Expand the outreach.
Yeah, might be the school social media, might be the school
So
ambassador
all
program.
the schools, PTO groups have a representative from Larkspur and Corte Madera, rec in the, like represented. So Hall has Larkspur, right, and Neil Cummins and Cove have Corte Madera. So Andy's idea would be very easily pitchable through that venue. But I'm also on the school board, and if that doesn't work, I'm happy to.
And I don't know if they did it last year, again, kind of COVID, but like as a Corte Madera, like Maryland used to do school visits.
Yeah,
Like in May to promote the program.
yeah,
It would visit
that's right. She actually came to,
classroom.
she came to an assembly at the end of
Maybe
last.
Larky.
And,
I love
Yeah.
that. Larky.
Yeah.
Larky.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we work well with
Yeah.
Corte Madera
Well,
too.
Larky would
Larky,
be,
Larky is
So-
going for the readathon, Neil Cummins.
yeah.
Larky is.
Yes, I'm handler. Yes.
Nice.
And would Larky still be welcome at home at middle school? I think so. I think so.
I think I'm gonna have to.
I haven't been on the middle school ground in a long time. But
Yeah.
I like the idea of something with Larky. I mean, I know it's like somewhat of an archaic marketing plan, but for Little League and softball, we literally still put out those sandwich board things. And people do read them, and they remember them.
Okay,
Yeah,
have you seen those college football games where the mascot is just running around and
Yeah.
just, I mean.
but those little like things that, you know,
Mascots are
just 'cause
big.
if you're putting that on,
There you go.
like if you're putting that on the bike path that leads into like Neil Cummins, like so many people walk by it every day.
Yeah.
And it just would say like, you know, just be like a big flyer, you know, on each side saying, you know, Larkspur Library Summer Reading Program. Here's the link to sign up.
I
Like,
think
Oh,
Larky should,
I think
should
that's a
be
great
there.
idea. I was
or
also
yeah,
thinking
you
of the
even have
crossing
Larky
guard.
there.
Yeah, and
If Larky
Larky
was
has.
the crossing guard
Oh.
for the day.
Oh.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And like you could get his permission pretty easy to do.
we got a lot of things for Larky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crossing guard.
Larky can be inhabited by many people.
That's
Our kids have become super tight with Tim the crossing guard.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
yeah, that's what
Like having Larky there handing out,
Yeah,
because on the way home from school in particular, you get a lot of parents
that's right.
that are,
Yeah.
particularly the
Larky's-
younger.
Yeah.
if you could get them at that intersection, then also just the main entrance intersection.
It also ties to community, like
Yeah.
this is the heartbeat of
Yeah,
this age.
and each of the schools have their own mascot, so Larky and Hawk could, you know, double team, right? You got the Cougar.
I'm feeling summer theater right now.
We have mascots.
Is there a hot mascot too?
Yeah,
I've never seen.
Hawk goes, no comments, it's like, different days, we'll greet students,
I think this is, Larky has to go back to school.
I love
Larky
it. Like,
needs.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
put energy
yeah,
with just a couple things like this.
yeah,
All right, I'm saying.
And like,
So-
to your point, I mean, my wife does the social posts. Even a post to that Instagram or the newsletter saying, hey, like,
yeah,
you know, just an FYI, the Larkspur Library Summer Reading Program
yeah.
is now out, like, I mean, you
Totally.
get more people.
And the PTOs, like, they have their, like, parents all read the digest that goes out. I'm like, here's the upcoming, we have a readathon, there's a holiday store, right? There's all the upcoming events. And we can just put, you know, on X day, Larky's gonna come and promote, you know, whatever
And
program.
the summer reading program is be a great way to really,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like,
think,
really hone in. on
yes.
well,
community, 'cause
so
it's all
the
pretty much-
readathon thing is happening now, like, it's gonna happen, short in a few weeks.
So everybody here is committed to be Larky one day. at Neil Cummins?
It's
Now we're getting cold feet.
I've been having a good handler, so
I hate to give Larky another job, but the Kentfield School District overlaps with all Greenbury too, and all those are Larkspur.
Correct.
But could be like
Basich and Kent Middle School.
maybe a week in May, you know, as we get more, I don't know, they could hit each one or each entrance.
Yeah. January 24th is when Larky's going to Neil Cummins for
January 24th.
Mhm.
Where is Larky at the moment? Is Larky downstairs?
He's downstairs in our office.
Yeah, yeah,
Under a desk.
yeah.
Who's gonna be
Here,
Larky?
on the 24th, what is he doing?
Secret.
So
Sound you up.
it's just greeting students to get them excited. It's like kind of a joint readathon that's being sponsored by the PTO. And it's just a nod toward promoting the library. So it's kind of the theme
He's
is
there
about
before
reading.
school starts
Right.
outside.
Yes, greeting students coming in, high five, generate enthusiasm about the library. It's just kind of like it's already
24th.
happening. Yeah,
But that's January. When does the summer program start?
It would start probably in June, like when school ends, we want to kind of start it, and then our goal is to be fully planned by March. And we're kind of still just ramping up at the beginning of the year, but we just started talking about this week, so. I think by March, we would know like all the events and programs and our theme and. Essentially be all planned out as kind of by the end of March, hopefully mid-March, but. Cause then we could get the flyers in the hands of people.
So it might be worthwhile just once you have the summer program dates out to just start thinking seriously if we want to have Larky be the crossing guard, whatever, and putting it, because it's gonna require just planning it, finding a lark.
Yeah.
pool.
I was just gonna
I think
say,
it's for-
honestly, just for benefit of, and I know we're running later, if it was I love simple, you know, it's like the mission statement is very to the point now, concise. If the goal is also like, look, we don't want to regress on any of these programs and, you know, the key numbers we want to achieve this year. But like the main focus in our planning is a step function improvement in our ability to communicate and get the message out on any and all things Larkspur Library. Like I'm completely happy with that being, but that's already a major undertaking, I think, and it's also like what a great timing, because if we get all the stuff dialed in, then by the time this new library comes out, we've got a much deeper penetration into like reaching the community, getting people attached to the library, getting them excited about the new library, you know, and then the more of that happens, I think there's like a whole world of feedback we probably haven't even gotten about.
So
their
I
excitement.
I
think,
agree with you.
yeah, I think that's it, because, all right, you know, I put a couple stats in the letter, but the number of programs we offer is fantastic. The content is really good, right? So we already have that, or at least momentum there.
Yeah.
So now it's more of like, to your point, the messaging, the promotion,
Yeah.
like,
It's an engagement engine.
yeah, like if
That's what we really need.
if we can, I don't want to use the word clean up, make it better, amplify, whatever,
Yeah.
that portion of it, right? Then
I agree.
we're
I
reaching
think
more
that
people.
Totally
The
agree.
other part of it is that it's not only communicating what we are doing at the library now, but opening the channel for the new library that you mentioned, and also in the process of building it so that there is people find and realize that this is not something that's going behind their back, that there is communication, there is a place for them to come and give feedback, be it on the building, be it on the future program, be it on existing program or the way it's run, or and right now, I don't really see that people know how to express whatever opinion or desire they have regarding the library.
So do we know from a current active, like, these are the people that would be using the library of like total eligible, you know, people that would be using the library, we have X% that come and leverage services, like, do we know what that is right now?
Kind of the only thing we have right now is if you checked books out.
Right.
And used us in that way, or used our e-services, or somehow with the card.
Right.
But like, we don't have a door counter.
No,
Or
just like an active, like, this is an active card, you know, this card has used us, you know, like unique.
Of all library accounts, how many are?
But just,
I'm just like, no, total, I'm just, the thing I'm trying to get at is like, if we hit, you know, we get the message out, we reach all the people we want to reach. Like in the end, how will we measure success, right? Is success getting more new people that haven't used the library or have used it before and stopped using it back? Like, would that be, like, how would we think about like, we did our job?
I think one of the challenges, and this is to talk it out a little bit, is, and other libraries have this, especially with the programming, it's hard to count people who come to programs.
Yeah.
In terms of like data.
Yeah.
They don't have to use their card. But I think I would anticipate with all this, we can pull out like who's used their card in the last year, who's used it in the last 6 months. So I think we could do some sort of statistic, like I would anticipate if we did this at the end of 24, we would have more people who used their library card in the last year, 6 months at the end of 24 than we did in 23.
And would we even be able to, like, would we be able to manage, like, if there was like a 20, 30, 50% increase in traffic, like, would that be something we could sustain?
That is.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think as we get fully staffed and, you know, we'll probably need, and I want to probably talk to Dan a little more what the new staffing model will look like there. I think that's just something to kind of consider, and then also what kind of programs we offer. Some programs can be relatively quick, maybe if the, you're just paying someone to come, we have to do the promotion. That's probably like an hour to 3 hours. But sometimes like a book club could maybe be labor intensive or not. Then we have passive programs, so it might help us direct if we need to do more, what type of programs. I think that would be a good key for us. I think this year we'll have a sense of how long they take, what people are coming, and the people also go, hey, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? So I think that,
I guess.
I do believe that the hard data, even so it would be easier for this group to have numbers and statistics, that a lot of the measurement of success, as you mean, will be from your report. Just literally being on the ground and seeing that the room is not being used. As you mentioned, that the teen room will probably not be used at 8 o'clock in the morning. That is, I can bet on it. But if it's not used, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then we know that there is a problem in communication, that the teens do not know that they have a room for them. And we will maybe not have hard data, but we will have staff who will see this is really being used or overused or misused or not used at all. And that's when decision can be made.
Yeah.
And that is going to
You may
be.
have some hard data, like some just from
will
the
be
large
okay.
report, But I think you're right. I think it's a lot of it's also like qualitative just from his report.
Yes.
What you're seeing, and you can
It's
tell,
a small
like, very
traffic. People feel the problem, right? That's the other.
I think that's a great, like, that one thing encompasses a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things for this coming year really is to maintain that enthusiasm, that energy through better communication and that newsletter, and to get the word out, and really to sort of, there'll be distractions with the new facility. And so consequently, you want to make sure that that doesn't inhibit what's going on this year. But I think you're spot on with what you're going to do with the newsletter and trying to get the word out and push it out. And I don't think we need to worry about having 20 to 30 to 40% more interest in the library.
And I think once you see a little
time to do it.
I think when you see a little construction going on there,
yeah,
too, like, then you're able to lean into things even more with the newsletter, with maybe some social presence of building, just excitement around that. Which I think gives you excitement about what we have.
The other thing is that maybe monitoring the public comments, because from that might be coming some information about what people's expectation of the library are. So I'd come and say, I only get my books on ebooks anyway. Why do I need a library for?
Yeah, I'd be very careful of like individual testimonial public comments.
We get a sense that then they don't know what's happening in the library. They don't realize that there's story time. They don't realize there's a tutoring. They don't realize that people come to access the internet because they don't have resources. And that's when we know that we have not communicated properly the many facets of what we are. We are way beyond stats. And so when I said monitoring the comments, not really monitoring them, it's just picking up from them of what is it that people are know about what we do, and what is it that still needs to be put into the newsletter and reiterated and let the community know that they have a gem.
Yeah, well, a theme of like, just looking forward for the year and building for the future sort of mentality is something that, we can certainly rely on.
Okay. The notion of building on this enthusiasm and the reaction when you see like construction happening, and like it's this visceral, like breaking ground, made me think of the groundbreaking events that are going to occur. And
exactly.
Of course, you have safety concerns, and you got to be, compliant and safe. But will there be planning around making like a pretty big to do around breaking ground, like the first act of this, because that's a celebration.
Yeah.
That's a
The city
great
council would
community
be all over
opportunity.
that.
The what?
The city council would be all
I
over
think
that.
the Clemens Foundation would be than that.
Yeah, I would assume so, there's discussion, but nothing. I can't, I'll say formal's been, it seems like very logical idea.
This is a Clemens Foundation.
Yeah.
Their
I'm
mission.
sure they'll have something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exciting.
Amir, did you want to either add a next step or some structure for the 2024 planning? Like, are we?
I think the structure would be, the ideal structure would be for Damon to just let us know what you think is like the kind of like, if the goal is to essentially drive better effective communication, to drive awareness of the library program, everything we're doing, then I think that the how is, is really in his hands.
Right,
And
you
with
can,
us as support, and we can offer ideas, and certainly we can do whatever, we can provide whatever help you need, and certainly, as you can tell, everyone here is, passionate and wants to contribute, so. But I think it would be ideal to just get a sense of what are the things on communication, like Andy talked about, it's like social, it's through school, we can do mascots, I mean, there's a whole gamut of things we can go after. What are the things that are most impactful, meaningful to you? The things that you would like to see, and then Armel would ask you sort of like over what time, course of timeline do we want to get those things out? We have a whole year, right, to execute this thing. And I just think the more achievable, impactful this thing would be huge going into next year, with us having like just felt like 2024 was like when we really brought Larkspur Library properly to like all the channels in comms.
I would say like give it some thought, like, because you're already thinking of the newsletter, and maybe just look at what we have now. Where do you think some holes are? And I would say we want to put it on an agenda. I mean, obviously we're not at future agenda items yet, but where we can kind of keep this fluid, because I think there's a lot of energy, and like that's like the stuff I get excited about, right? It's like communicating to the public. How do we, build momentum here? Like that's like, to me, exciting stuff. And I think it would be more of you kind of going back, thinking about it. We kind of gave you a lot here and saying, all right, here's kind of what we have for communication. Here's what we're lacking. Here's the whole sort of, I think the newsletter can plug a lot of holes and give us, like I said, I read the city council highlights like every time it comes out. Like I like that format. So that would be my suggestion.
I could maybe update this, think this has been great feedback from me on the communication. And kind of up a little document of some sort. And then kind of come back maybe in February. This is or something like that.
I would say, I would even say in terms of fluidity, like anything past like 3 months could be just rough outline of what you're thinking. And then maybe just a little bit more structure and depth into like what's ahead in the next 2 to 3 months that we can get our arms wrapped around, and then maybe as important, what can we do to support those things? Are there areas that we can provide resource feedback, whatever you need, right, on them? But I think any progress we make on this would be huge.
Great. Okay. Item 6.5, discussion of the annual report to the council.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, this is a rough draft, as you can tell, because I don't even have the names on the first sheet. Do you want me to just read this and kind of walk through, and then we can pause? Because I had one specific area that I was looking to add something to. I didn't really have anything tangible to put on there.
Yeah.
But I can just kind of walk you through it, like just go paragraph by paragraph, or you can read it now by yourself, like whatever you guys want to do.
Go ahead and read it, Andy.
Yeah, so it's just Happy New Year. We're ready to give you a recap of all the wonderful things going on at the Larkspur Library. The Board of Trustees has had a great year working with many people that helped the Larkspur Library have another successful year in 2023. Most importantly, 2023 brought us a new library director, Damon Hill. Damon brings a vast amount of experience and energy to the role and has wasted no time jumping into and enhancing the many resources the library provides. Damon spent more than 23 years in the Marin County Free Library System and brings a wealth of knowledge to our community. So just, you know, a little, I know we've done a welcome and all of that, but just highlighting that we're really excited to work with Damon. And then I just added some programming, which I think obviously is a big highlight. Once again, the library programs offered was a big highlight of the community resources in 2023. Could be community resources provided. Library offers a healthy schedule of programs for patrons of all ages. The kids programs offered us particularly strong again as the library offered 66 events in the fiscal year with over 2,500 attendees. This is a huge increase over the prior year. Library offered 28 adult programs during the fiscal year with over 250 attendees, which is a slight increase from the prior year. We'll continue to work with Library Director Hill to find unique programs to build on increased demand from the community. Just kind of reviewing programming. I think the last time I did it, we didn't like dive into different programming. It was just more of stats and kind of patterns. So that's kind of how I did it. Another focus for the board is updating the library's mission statement to reflect its purpose in a direct and dynamic way that will provide clear guidance when weighing policies, programs, and other decisions. The board will continue to provide feedback in a manner that aligns with the mission of the library. In that realm, we also updated the unaccompanied adult policy for the children's room and will review all policies that are needed to make sure they adequately address the patron's needs and concern. And then this is where I definitely needed some more content. We're grateful for the continued support of our supporting organizations, the Friends of the Library, the Larkspur Library Foundation, and the Commons Foundation. I wanted to have an example of something like the bookmarks or the tote bags, just something that they funded. Like I've found it in the past.
The Friends of the new chairs, the big new chairs.
Great.
You can tell us what they.
So when I did it the last time, I thought it was good just to have tangible recognition for them because they're such good partners to know, like, you know, and I know the council knows, but for them to be reminded that, hey, like, they don't just partner with us, like they do tangible things that you need to be able to see. So I wanted to put that in.
And I believe the Library Foundation paid for the new carpeting, right? Did we get new carpeting?
I don't know if that was the year.
They did the Friends paid for the carpet cleaning in December.
And the new chairs. And the big item was the new chairs. But the foundation bought something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, if we could find that out and then maybe like a blurb on, I mean, obviously the Commons is not much fundraising.
The foundation did they have foundation hasn't paid for anything during my tenure here. So like the chairs and some that's a little bit before. The one thing I know the foundation did pay was our consumer reports. I think the foundation of the next meeting is going to have a lot more. The Friends, the big thing they do are the library programs. So that's when they gave the $10,000 check here. And so that they're their primary program. With summer readings.
We could pick one of the events that 10 grand supported, right? Because I love your idea, make it tangible.
Yeah.
Something specific. Good chairs. We had this program on this topic.
I think the chairs are good. Everybody can use them.
I agree. I like the chair.
And they're right there. Anybody who walks into the library and the lamps. Anybody who walks into the library can see those 4 chairs and those 2 lamps that are brand new.
Yep. And then and that was the Friends.
The Friends.
And the foundation and consumer reports.
Online.
Subscription.
And then just a nod to the Commons, just saying, and of course, you know, the great work the Commons has done in raising $5 million for the line.
Yeah.
Small.
All right, that's good. I mean, I can incorporate that.
Yeah.
The other thing, if you wanted to do a Friends program, they do family story time every Saturday. They pay for. So
Yeah,
That's great, because it's also ongoing.
yeah.
Everybody can tell.
All right,
And on the previous paragraph where you talked about mission statement, you could put it in there,
Yeah,
especially
Yeah.
if it's so short and sweet.
yeah, I definitely could. Where was that? All right, insert mission statement. I think this one of your lines say, use that I love environmental. We are especially appreciative of the spirit of collaboration between all organizations in the city that allows our library to thrive and grow. We look forward to providing more opportunities for all organizations to meet, exchange ideas, and work together.
great.
Perfect.
As we look back at another great year working with the city council, library director, and the various support groups, we are filled with pride for all that has been provided to the community, and we are excited for the amazing things to come. Thanks for your time and support. With gratitude, Larkspur Library Board of Trustees.
That's really good, Andy.
So I'll add the mission statement and I'll add those, and then I'll send it back to you.
Okay.
That's
If
great.
there's any like thing you want to just completely rewrite, change, let me know. I'm happy to. I'm not tied to anything here.
It looks really good.
Anything we're doing this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're good on this letter.
So if I can just make changes, send it to you, then we'll stamp it with approval at the next meeting.
Yep.
And then we can get it to the city council meeting mid-month.
Yeah, they do the first, it'd probably be the second Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty much.
So
and usually we send it to the council ahead of their meeting.
okay. Okay. That's
And it's not like we need to have it done February 1st or anything like that. So,
that's
yeah,
not good. Yeah, that should be.
so
okay.
yeah, all right, so that'll be.
So Just approve it next meeting.
Yeah,
in final version, I think it's great.
Great.
Thanks again for
yeah,
Yes.
writing it up.
And I'll leave it up to kind of you if you wanted to have like a good draft, should I send it with the packet? Or
yeah,
wait, or-
I
or
would,
wait?
yes,
Okay.
I will update it like tomorrow
Okay.
and send it back to you and then put it in with the packet.
Okay.
Would be great, perfect. That way people can read it ahead of time and make any. Yeah, love it.
Okay, great,
All right.
thanks. So item 7, status reports from the library support groups. Do we have those? Folks, okay, good. So none present, future agenda items. Some of those have come up.
Yeah, I had 2, obviously the letter. And then the planning topic 6.4, revisiting communication plan.
Yep.
And we also had update on the new building.
Yeah, as a.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As a
As a
standing.
standing
one,
one,
yeah.
I had that on there too, good call.
But you know what, I'd even suggest that we add a standing item around communication, so every meeting, we just talk about either the current status, things that are coming, and like on the long horizon, like the timeframe's always shifting, but.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, we could have like where we don't really have much to talk about, but I like communication plans, huge.
Well, if we make it our goal for 2024, we should probably keep our eye on the ball. And
I agree.
and decide.
So
Keep it on the agenda at least for 2024.
standing item.
Yeah, okay, that's.
Good call, particularly if that's like one of our goals, right?
Yep.
Yeah, get some like brainstorming going and just.
I like that.
So what was the other one there?
The letter.
And the letters.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Larky,
Oh,
Larky's agenda, Larky's time calendar for the next month.
name it, like.
I just want one question. Do we have like, as we, hopefully this communication really takes off, is there like a repository for like community feedback? If folks want to share their, like community wants to share their ideas directly with you, Damon, or if they give it to us to pass on?
Probably at this point, and that might be something we worked on, probably the best thing now would be to like email me or email library at City of Larkspur.
Okay.
And so we have some people provide feedback that way, probably nice to formalize it, but.
Okay. Sorry, just like, I'm hoping to get a lot more.
Yeah, logistics, that's like,
Yeah.
we want to facilitate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get like a Larky Instagram page.
That's today. It's a Larky man box.
Well, and then we'll get into merchandising. That's a whole separate fundraiser.
Oh my goodness, wow, that could be the,
That could get us to the,
That could be the
that extra,
4,000,
that wall. that-
Oh, yeah.
that approval, right? Over
Like
there.
Chuck, talk to Chuck,
Yeah,
talk to
exactly.
Larky.
Just get a little more.
And AI.
That's what I was like, yeah, like people.
The Larky car wash, and the couple of Larkies coming.
Just want a Larky bobblehead.
Can't wait for those Larky memes.
Yeah, they're coming,
They're clearly,
yeah.
this is the primordial.
Who's
two.
gonna be Larky at, Cummins?
Um,
Oh, you're gonna be.
no, I'm the handler, not.
We can't say,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
secret.
Well, it comes to that.
I don't know about Larky is.
I'll have video.
It's kind of low floor.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about Larky like that on the video.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, it's good.
Okay, next meeting date. Same.
Oh, yeah.
That works.
Hopefully, let me write your calendar.
Yeah.
It's like.
Let me know, check your
Okay,
calendars.
first, yeah, that is the first Monday.
What's with the 12th or the 5th?
Well. It would be the 12th, I'm sorry about that.
It's the
'cause
first
second-
Monday of a full week, right?
Yes.
Oh, right.
The first, oh, is it the first?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I have-
second.
I have it on the 12th, yeah.
Yeah, it's the 12th.
Second.
Second Monday, sorry.
Second, it's
Yeah.
because this was the 8th, the first
That's right.
was,
That's right.
okay, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My bad, so it's the 12th.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is President's
Very
Week
good.
the following week for you guys?
What's that?
Is President's Holiday the following week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not, I'm
19.
not in the loop with
Yeah.
that week.
Yeah.
Vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so confirm
Yes.
Monday, the 12th of February, 6 P.M. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Everything,
That's
so
good.
motion to adjourn,
Second.
So moved.
right, we're done.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
I was thinking this was the first Monday.
Ah.
The second.
Yeah, this feels like the first Monday.
Meeting.
This should be a lot, this will be a lot better than my daily board meeting tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Coming to that end.
It's just gonna be.
You should.
Why?